Ugh. Just when I think all's fair has hit rock bottom, it grabs a shovel, hits me over the head with it, and then starts digging. Kim Kardashian's punishment to the world continues its mission to be the most hated show of all time. Even the cast have joined in, relishing in the viewers' disappointment with glee.
Hey, fuck you! Yes! Yes! Fuck you too!
Which in turn fuels my own loathing even more. It's a vicious cycle. I wish I could take comfort in the fact that I'm now 2/3 of the way through, but my brain then reminds me All's Fair was given a second season, so that's something to look forward to. Yay. In all honesty, one of the main reasons I'm continuing on with this series is because my mum insisted, as she wants to read more about herself in the comments section. She's really quite taken with being internet famous. In fact, the other day I called her asking for a favour, and her response was, "Of course, anything for a fan." We've created a monster here, people. Anyway, let's get into this review, because the sooner I start, the sooner it ends, and I can go have an existential crisis. Sassy Black Lady has prepared for herself, by which of course I mean her staff has prepared for her, a romantic dinner for one, cause she don't need no man, complete with romantic music, candles, and has dressed up for the night. Before she can romanticize, well, herself, I guess, her 3 boys all walk in, about to go out for the night, and naturally assumes that she's waiting for her date. We have already established that Sassy Black Lady cannot say a single nice thing to her sons, so she has a go at them for assuming that it's a date. Now, look, I'm a single guy, which surprises most people as I am quite obviously a catch. And like Sassy Black Lady, I like to do something nice for myself every now and then. Make a nice dinner, get a good bottle of whiskey, and just relax. However, I don't stick on my best suit, dim the lights, get some candles, and stick on some Barry White.
That sounds like a cry for help.
Once again, despite being nothing but rude and dismissive to her sons, they're still nice to her.
What?
You really do look beautiful tonight. Love you.
Typically, when someone pays me a compliment, I like to say thank you, but whatever. The next day, the 3 worst lawyers in the world are once again in the building's only office eating their lunch together. I don't think I've ever seen them do a scrap of work. Sassy Black Lady tells Kim and British Girl all about her date night with herself, all without having to cook or clean for no man after. You don't do any of that shit. You have staff. Stop pretending. And of course, followed by a little private time with her vibrator.
And I was in the tent next to hers, right? And in the middle of the night, I was woken up by this really weird noise. She didn't think men were better than machines.
I'm not sure if that's the 3rd or 4th time Sassy Black Lady has talked about her vibrator at this point, and there is no fucking chance I'm looking back to find out. Even my self-loathing has some limits. Kim and British Girl try to get Sassy Black Lady into dating because love is real. After all, British Girl found the love of a good man. I've still got 10 quid, he's a prick. And Kim, even after everything she's been through with football ex, like stealing his embryos without his knowledge, still believes in love. This show is honestly so unself-aware that they are trying to preach the value of true love. It's the funniest shit I have heard in years. Sassy Black Lady agrees to go to a singles party.
Don't care, don't care, don't care.
At the clothes shop, Sassy Black Lady doesn't know what to wear for a date, as she's always dressed in a manner most appropriate for work. Sassy Black Lady doesn't want to dress up for...
I don't even know.
Last night, you dressed up for a vibrator, love. There are no standards. But Kim states that getting dressed up for...
Dressing for
Ugh, Kim and that, okay. ...is fun. It's about
presenting as you, revealing the inner emerald green.
Her real name is Emerald Green. Fucking hell. However, they do settle on a necklace for her. It's only a small fortune after all. What's money matter? Now dressed up for her date night, she once again has a go at her boys, because now they're going camping. I'm not sure how that's bad, but hey, my name's not Emerald Green. As she's leaving, the boys tell her she looks nice.
Hey, Mama, you look bangable.
Gross. Then break out into song.
Mama about to get it on. Hey, hey, Mama about to get it on. Hey, Mama about to get it on. Hey, Mama about to get it on.
Oh, shit.
Maybe if you had a relationship, you wouldn't need your own sons to tell you how bangable you are. I mean, if my mum went on a date, I said she looked bangable and then started singing to her, "Mum about to get it on, hey, hey," she would either throw up in my face or die of embarrassment. And her life insurance policy doesn't pay out enough for me to take that risk. I love how in this scene you can see the driver standing there, contemplating his life choices. If you have a gun, mate, use it. We won't blame you. At the party, sassy black lady, who remember, don't need no man, walks in and within 30 seconds has made a beeline for the very first breathing male that's glanced in her general direction. Yet again, a cry for help. She goes over to random guy, begins flirting, and he gets her a drink. Now, coming up is a very sensitive subject that does happen to real people and causes a lot of harm. So I shall try to handle it in as delicate a manner as I can. After her drink, they share a dance, and her vision starts to go blurry. She can't stand up properly, and blacks out, waking up the next morning in her bed with bruises on her leg and little memory of the night before. Naturally, in this situation, sassy black lady calls the police, and is taking a test at the hospital. Whilst they can confirm she has indeed been drugged, they cannot confirm whether or not she has been graped. She then calls Kim and Co about the ordeal. Her necklace is broken. Yes, that's the metaphor the writers went with. And then she just gets right back to work. Okay then, that's the serious sensitive part done. Trust me, later in the episode, this serious sensitive subject becomes far more trivialized. So now it's time for the first client of the episode, which of course means a counseling session, to hear about how our client is the victim. Today the client is pissed off because her husband wants half of her $30 billion business. Yet more billionaires. Why does he want so much? Just because he gave up his own career and then they built the business together from the ground up. What a selfish fucking cunt. The marriage went stale because what he wanted more than anything in the world was children. However, she did not want any. Probably should have talked about that before getting married, but never mind. They managed to put these feelings aside for a while. However, one day during yet another awkward flashback sex scene, he came inside her, which is enough to make her cry. This absolute monster came inside his own wife. Death is too good for this one. So now she's filing for divorce. Yet she feels guilty because she got an abortion without telling her husband a while back. Now, I don't know if you're anti-abortion, pro-choice, whatever, but I do believe a couple should discuss something like this with one another. It does take two to tango. This conversation makes Kim thinking about the possible baby growing within her. You know, the one from stolen embryos? Yeah, that one. Sassy black lady then goes into a rant about how men are never the victim. Women always are. This is supposed to suggest some sort of breakdown, but all the characters speak like this all the time, so I don't know. And Kim suggests that sassy black lady take some time off.
Well, duh.
After a little chat, they all agree to get random grape guy together. So, the next 2 minutes, the group of evil lawyers decide they are Sherlock Holmes. But worse in every single possible way. They do some sleuthing, however, sadly they get nowhere. They do eventually stumble upon an important clue though. He messages sassy black lady personally.
What?
This right here is just dumb cartoonish supervillainy. I have sent a few photos like this before, but usually in an envelope with a ransom demand. This guy just does not understand the subtleties. Phones can be tracked, dipshit! So the group investigate the photo and there just so happens to be an envelope with the home address next to the bed.
Really? Is it? Well, lucky us.
This is a personal plea to Ryan Murphy. Please, for the good of humanity, I implore you to write a murder mystery show next. It will be the funniest show in all of history.
All he's left this time is a passport-sized photograph and 2 recent utility bills.
So this is the part where the formerly serious subject takes a rather silly turn. It turns out random grapey guy's father was prosecuted by Glenn Close many years ago, after which the father decided to unsubscribe himself from life. So now random grapey guy is targeting all the people closest to Glenn Close. Not Glenn herself, of course, nor her husband, or her closest friend in Kim. Oh no. He goes for the heart, targeting Glenn Close's second or third closest work colleague. That is getting Glenn right in the feels there. Also, it turns out random grapey guy might not have done anything to sassy black lady after all. Way to take a real, serious subject that has affected many people and trivialise it into this dumbass story. Sassy black lady then heads home. See, your staff deal with everything. Stop pretending otherwise. And wants to have dinner with her sons.
We were actually gonna go There's a basketball game?
No game. You're having dinner. I said what I said.
She trauma dumps on her boys. Funny enough, this is the only time she speaks to any of her boys with a level of respect, and then tells them not to do anything about random maybe grapey guy. In that case, probably best to just not tell them. You do have others to confide in, like your vibrator, for example.
Oh.
Anyway, this episode's client just so happens to have her case solved out of nowhere. The ex-husband has dropped all claims because his new girlfriend is pregnant, so she can keep the business that he helped build. Shit, fuck that. You helped build a $30 billion business. At least get enough to start your kid's future. Whatever. It's just more time to have Kim rub her belly and dazzle us with her acting. The true greats can tell us so much more with one expression than an entire page of dialogue. The League of Evil, I quite like that name for them, once again have lunch in the Oni office, and Glenn Close is complaining about her husband being pathetic and dying. Just go fuck Commodore Norrington, love. That'll make you feel better. Then the police officer, who used to be partners with sassy black lady, tells the group that random maybe not grapey guy is dead. It looks like suicide, but obviously the police are investigating, and if the coroner concludes it's murder, she should get her story straight. Despite him coming around simply to give an old friend a heads up, the rest of the Legion treat him like shit and tell him to fuck off.
She's horrible. I've made a ghastly mistake.
Sassy black lady heads home and asks her boys if they had anything to do with random maybe not grapey guy's death. But they all swear they didn't. You've got 3 sons, all in their physical prime. If you didn't want something like this to happen, you shouldn't have trauma dumped on them. Anyway, that's the end of episode 4, nearly halfway through the season. So we come to the Sarah Paulson episode, and now seems like as good a time as any to address a little bit of an elephant in the room. In my last review of All's Fair, I was, shall we say, less than complimentary towards Sarah Paulson's acting abilities, and a few people in the comments felt that I was overly harsh of her. Now, reading those comments and seeing her performance in episodes 5 and 6 gave me cause to reconsider. So I watched a couple of episodes of American Horror Story. After watching this, I did come to the conclusion that I still don't think she's an amazing actress, but I do concede that she is a decent actress, and I was too harsh to say she can't act for shit, because she can. I guess it doesn't help that I compared her performance with Jessica Lange's. Anyway, Sarah Paulson is driving her preteen daughter to school. They are clearly distant, as is expected with a 12-year-old and her mother. Sarah Paulson had her daughter through surrogacy, because in this show no child is born the old-fashioned way, and is currently struggling to make friends at school, something which saddens Sarah Paulson, a worry many parents have about their children. Not mine though. When my parents saw me lining up all my imaginary friends to form a firing squad, they had a very different worry. Meanwhile, the Legion of Evil are giving their client a therapy session. Oh, I can't wait to see how bad this one will be. The client wants a divorce from her husband, who has dementia, but her daughter, who has legal power, refuses to change the prenup. Oh, this one is already golden. For years now, she played the housewife, because in this show, raising your own children is a sentence rather than a parental instinct, whilst her husband went to go have a life. But then her rich, brilliant husband got fed up and now has early onset dementia. His condition digressed to the point where he needs 24-hour care, so they put him in a care home. Glenn Close raises a very good point. He is being looked after, so why divorce him? You can just live out your own life. Simple answer. Dementia X doesn't want to have any responsibility towards her husband. Not even something as simple as a visit once a month or a phone call if he's dying. She wants to live a new life because she just couldn't before.
Hey, so, I'm gonna get out of here.
Fuck me, this woman has a lot of resentment towards her husband and daughter. Now, if Dementia X really couldn't handle that very basic level of responsibility, she could just walk away without skinning the poor demented sod, but nah. Take the demented old fucker to the cleaners. So she wants the Legion of Evil to twist her daughter's arm, because she deserves that money, and she deserves no judgment. The show actually tells us this.
Shame!
So the group discussed this case. Glenn Close isn't in favour of this one.
For better, for worse, in sickness and in health. Those words matter.
Glenn is not in a position to moralise, but I do agree with her. The others, however, feel that emotional blackmail on the daughter is the best way forward. Naturally. Also, British girl might have to sign a prenup herself with her soon-to-be husband. But she does not like the idea because she's the one making more money. So, she's protecting his money from her or hers money from his. I don't know, and I don't think the show does either. They get a bit mixed up. And I also just don't care. Anyway, back to Sarah Paulson. She's representing her client and starts crying in the middle of the hearing, then tells her client to fuck off and die. Sarah Paulson then steps outside, and one of the other lawyers who saw this joins her for a chit-chat. Now, this one here is probably the dullest character in the entire show, so the only name I can think for her is just Other Lawyer. So Other Lawyer can tell that Sarah Paulson is having problems with a child, and now apparently they're friends.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yup!
Then Other Lawyer hands Sarah Paulson her business card saying if she ever needs anything to contact her. Have you ever had one of those days where things are just going wrong? The problems build up, you're near the end of your tether, and then somewhere out of the blue, a complete stranger who you've never once spoken to in your entire life just hands you their phone number and offers to help out any time. Nope, me neither. That night, Sarah Paulson is meeting with Football X at his house. Well, Kim's house, because being a star football player, he can't afford his own place. They start flirting in a very weird way, and then for some reason, he strips off and she washes his hair. Fuck knows why. And I'm sure Ryan Murphy did not write and direct this scene personally. After the strangest flirtation in TV history, Sarah Paulson drives home pissed out of her skull and gets pulled over.
What seems to be the officer problem?
Now Sarah Paulson is in a pickle, so she asks herself, who to call? Is there anyone? Well, it just so happens she has the number from random stranger earlier today.
Blah, blah, bloody blah, blah, blah. Finished!
Other Lawyer pays bail and wants to be partners because apparently Sarah Paulson's a really good lawyer. This show hasn't had anything even resembling law, so I guess we'll just have to take Other Lawyer's word for it. Now British Girl and Glenn Close are talking with Dementia X and her daughter, trying to find a way to settle this out of court. A quick emotional manipulation session later, and the daughter is considering backing off from Dementia X stealing, rightfully claiming all the money.
You suck!
After this, British Girl asked Dementia X why she signed a prenup in the first place, and she said at the time it just meant nothing to her. So thanks to their little chit-chat, because British Girl has never once asked a client why they signed a prenup, British Girl signs her own prenup with future husband. After she's made a few of her own tweaks, of course, so now it's more her prenup. Seriously, do not sign any piece of paper this woman hands you.
It's a trap!
Meanwhile, Kim and Sassy Black Lady have been approached by a detective, whom I'm naming Detective Awesome. You'll see why she's called that soon enough. Detective Awesome is there regarding the death of random maybe not grapey guy, and has a warrant to check the files.
This warrant is useless. Those documents and devices are all protected by attorney-client privilege.
100%. You need a separate court order if you want to access anything that falls under that protection.
Right here.
Fucking yes! Detective Awesome is now officially my new BFF. I absolutely adore her.
Isn't there somewhere ludicrously opulent in this office where you and I can sit and talk?
And she just keeps getting better. Unfortunately, Glenn Close then waltzes in and decides that the police are not allowed to search the company's files or speak to the staff, despite having several warrants allowing them to search through the company's files and speak to the staff. Now, I watched this scene over 3 times to check if I missed something. I didn't. Glenn Close just tells them all to fuck off without citing any laws, and for some reason the police accept that. No, bestie, come back. This show needs you. Farewell, Detective Awesome. We are richer for having known you. Sarah Paulson then goes to visit the sperm donor for her daughter. No ordinary fathers in this show. No sir. Just turkey basters and vibrators. To be honest, nothing of importance really happens here. They just talk for a bit and Sarah Paulson admits she needs help with their daughter. I only mention this scene in case Sperm Dad makes an appearance in later episodes. But as of writing, I've got to episode 7 and still no sign. We are now officially closer to the end than we were the beginning. Thank you, God. Kim and co are gathered in their office, as is Sarah Paulson, Other Lawyer, and Football X. They do their weird hair washing thing again because fuck it, why not? Then do a little prep work before meeting with Kim's team and a judge. When I first watched this episode, I thought, finally, a courtroom scene. But no, we don't get that. It's this pre-court thingy, which I can't be asked to look up what it is. Sarah Paulson tells Football X that whoever can get the judge to cry is the winner. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think this is how legal proceedings work. It certainly wouldn't work if my dad was a judge. He has got to be the only man on earth who has laughed at the end of E.T.
Did you see that jerk?
So in the counselling room, Judge Moran is presiding. He is there to see who he will give his recommendation to. Okay, yeah, if that's how the law works, fine. And the two sides start kissing up to him. So now, the fight we've been waiting for all season. The battle of the century. Bigger than Ali versus Frazier. In the left corner, reigning defending champions Kim Glenn Close and Sassy Black Lady. Weighing in a combined 490 pounds. 70 pounds of that being plastic. And in the right corner, football ex Sarah Paulson and other lawyer with a perfect record of 0 losses, 0 courtroom scenes. The Mood Swing Lawyers, with the Honourable Judge Moran refereeing. Football X starts by telling Judge Moran the story of how he and Kim met at one of his football games. I assume they met at a Mensa meeting, shows what I know. He goes into tears to get Judge Moran on his side, which amazingly works. And Kim excuses herself to the bathroom. What the fuck are you wearing? Surely there are rules about showing that much skin in front of a judge. I genuinely think the costume department tried to go with high-class escort in a hotel look, but I think that's very insulting to escorts. Anyway, I digress. Kim's not crying about the story Football X spun. She's crying because she got her period, so the stolen embryos didn't take.
Oh no! Anyway.
Glenn Close's only concern?
That's a breach of contract. You know that, don't you?
It's also fraud. As well as morally fucked up, but legally it's fraud at the very least. Kim and Glenn then return to the counselling office, and Kim has a chance to give her speech now. How she loved Football X, how she planned their future together, but clearly he just didn't want to make the effort. How the fuck can you stand there and claim the moral high ground when 30 seconds ago you just admitted to something that is both illegal and morally bankrupt? This speech causes Football X to feel bad for Kim, realising he was wrong to let her go, because she's the best thing to ever happen to him. There's those subtle signs again that Kim Kardashian is one of the executive producers of this show. Sarah Paulson and other lawyer take Football X aside and tell him to stop simping over his ex. Their plan is to destroy the prenup, but not contest the prenup. This is due to prevailing party clause, which, according to this show at least, means that if one party disputes the prenup, they have to win. If they don't, they walk away with nothing.
What a load of bullshit.
Now, after my first review of All's Fair, I decided to do a little bit of research into law. Not enough to pass the bar exam by any means, so me and Kim have that in common, but enough research to call out some of the absolute bullshit laws in this show. This here is a direct quote from the Law Insider. If any legal action or other proceedings is brought for a breach of this agreement or any other of the warranties herein, the prevailing party shall be entitled to recover its reasonable attorney fees and other costs incurred to any other relief to which such parties may be entitled.
What the hell is that?
Basically, it's about legal costs. If Football X makes a claim against the prenup and fails, he pays his lawyers extra fees for this work. However, if Football X makes a claim and succeeds, then Kim will pay his lawyers extra fees. This was the info I got from less than an hour online. What excuses do the creators of this show have for not putting in the very same minimal effort? Anyway, they all return to the counselling room and discuss the prenup, going through the couple's assets. Something that Kim never enclosed in the prenup, or ever even mentioned to her husband, is that she brought up a reform school that her father sent her to when she was a teenager, simply to destroy it. This means that technically Kim lied on her prenup, hiding financial assets from her husband. This is enough for Judge Moran to question what else Kim might be hiding. Oh, you have no idea yet. However, Judge Moran is very unhappy about how Team Football X introduced this evidence to him. You mean by telling you to your face in this semi-court? At this point, I can't even pretend to care anymore. The two sides continue the proceeding. Oh dear God, we're only 21 minutes in. This episode is so long-winded it's the worst one yet. With Sarah Paulson and other lawyer trying to use the embryos to strong-arm Kim into signing the terms of 50% of everything. He's probably more rich than she is. Do you have any idea how rich Tom Brady is? I'm English, and even I know of Tom Brady.
He's right.
Kim then admits that she got the embryos 3 weeks ago, but they didn't take. She got her period this morning.
If we can hit that bullseye, the rest of the dominoes will fall like a house of cards. Checkmate.
Kim, you have just admitted to fraud at the very least in front of several lawyers and a judge. Granted, this is Judge Moran, but he is a judge nonetheless. So that's the end of the case, right? Kim's just lost. Football X could take everything at this point. Kim's definitely getting disbarred and might even face prison sentence. The show's over. Right? Sarah Paulson and other lawyer berate Kim, as they should. But for some stupid, fucked up reason, Football X apologises to Kim.
What?
Why? Because her crimes didn't pay off? Because she forged your signature but ultimately it wasn't worth it? What the fuck is wrong with these people? This whole time, Judge Moran is just sitting there in silence. He's like one of those useless I don't give a fuck substitute teachers that lets the kids do whatever they want for an hour. Glenn Close then has to go because Ed O'Neill is getting weaker. Again, Commodore Norrington is available. So she leaves sassy black lady in charge of Kim's case. Now, correct me if I'm mistaken, dear viewer, but I'm under the impression that sassy black lady is the firm's investigator. She would have a knowledge of the law, but wouldn't be allowed legally to lead Kim's case. So Kim and sassy black woman decide that now's the time to take off the gloves and kick some ass, because they're fed up of Team Football X and their dirty tactics. They're the ones fighting dirty.
Okay.
Sassy black lady brings up Football X's gambling debts, and suggests that he threw a game to pay them off, even if he did manage to get himself into such heavy debt that the $5 million a month he'd earned doesn't cover it. The accusation that he threw a game is both unfounded and it's all irrelevant to this divorce. Also, I'll say this again. You've already lost! Oh, I need to stop trying to find the logic in this show. It's 5 o'clock in the morning as I type this out and I really can't be arsed. Sassy black lady has proof that Football X threw the game. She hacked his emails to see the messages confirming it. Fucking hell, that's another crime you just confessed to. This time to get inadmissible evidence to something completely irrelevant to your case. But that's not enough for the Legion of Evil. Sassy black lady also has a video of Sarah Paulson getting arrested for drunk driving in the last episode. Probably broke some laws getting this one as well. Showing her breaking down to tears in the back of the police car for everyone to see. Judge. Yes, you, Judge Moran. Are you going to put a stop to this? No one has stated a single law in the last 10 minutes. They have just thrown mud at one another, whilst breaking several laws, and you've just sat there like, well, a moron. Nope, you're going to continue just sitting there? Okay, I know all the men in this show are stupid and pathetic, but I was rather hoping a judge would be a bit stronger. This whole event causes Sarah Paulson to have a full-blown mental breakdown, whilst Kim and sassy black woman watch proudly. I honestly felt uncomfortable watching this scene. They have deliberately destroyed this woman for no reason other than to score some points. It serves no legal purpose. It doesn't help their case at all. They have essentially destroyed this woman just to watch her crumble. Yet they are the good guys.
Oh, let me taste your tears, Scott. Your tears are so yummy.
The morals of these writers is truly terrifying. They heard the term schadenfreude and took it to a whole new level. Sassy black lady then finds Sarah Paulson crying in the corner of another room after her breakdown and gaslights her into thinking that they are friends. That sassy black woman doesn't want to release the police video and the gambling debts publicly, whilst conveniently ignoring that Kim forged Football X's signature, stole the embryos, hacking into the emails and obtaining private police surveillance footage. None of that matters. Kim then enters the room and agrees with sassy black lady that they should make a settlement quickly because they are all friends with Sarah Paulson.
Are we the baddies?
I have got to remember this one. Destroy a person and then appear as that person's only friend. I think that's called coercive control. Great stuff. So now the whole divorce is settled between them. Because Football X's opinion means fuck all. He's only the client. And they all part ways. Kim meets Football X in her office's hallway and they shake hands. Then make out for a bit. But Kim breaks the kiss and walks away from her now ex-husband. I think this is supposed to be a triumphant moment for Kim, breaking away from the shackles of her husband, but in all honesty, he has had a lucky escape. In this one episode alone, Kim has proven to be pure evil. Finally, we return to Glenn Close. She is at Ed O'Neill's bedside as he's lying there, wondering to himself why he signed up for this shit show, and after 6 long episodes, decides that he's had enough and just dies. Lucky bastard. I've still got 3 more to get through. And that's the end of episode 6. Where do I start with this? My summary won't be nearly as long as it was for part 1 because I've already covered quite a lot there. All's Fair continues its trend of being so horribly written, so lacking in self-awareness, and so full of spite that it is offensive to literally everyone on Earth, particularly those who have watched it. I'm betting a lot of those are hate watchers. Not only are episodes 4 to 6 worse than the first 3 episodes, but amazingly, the episodes seem to be getting progressively worse with each one. The continuous drop in quality is so perfect, you would think it was a deliberate effort. So while Season 6 is the worst episode currently, I do expect the final 3 episodes to surpass it. I personally don't know how that's even possible, but if anything can pull off the impossible, it's all's fair. Till next time, fellow lunatics.